A Villain in Venice, Jane of the Air, Book 1. A steampunk detective and aviatrix and part-time spy. Available now. All profits to the NHS.
Scanning for audio.
Welcome to a Tin Dog podcast. This time, talking about Lovecraft Country. It's one of those instant reaction podcasts where I don't give it much thought, I just ramble and chat. So, history of violence. Here's what Sky had to say about it. Letty, Tick and Montreux head to Boston to search for missing pages to a crucial text. Ruby nurses her disappointment. So, this is the episode that's the most like an Indiana Jones story, which, to be fair, is, pulp fiction-y, like actual pulp adventure novel stuff. It's archaeology. It's the most like a classic Call of Cthulhu game. Oh, let's go to the museum. Let's see if the moonlight strikes the statue in a certain way. Oh, look, a tunnel. Let's use some logic and then split up. No, not let's split up. Let's go down one corridor. Let's do some investigation and then go for a walk. Now, because my knowledge of American geography is non-existent, I know where some of the major cities are. I know where Florida is. I know where New York is. I know that Los Angeles is a city in California. It's on the left-hand side. I know that there's Mexico, there's New Mexico, and I know Canada's above all that. There's an Alaska at one end, off to one side, not really attached. And there used to be a land bridge between America and Russia. And the humans moved across the land bridge and then moved further down. Yeah? Obviously there's some flashes. Chicago is somewhere near a Great Lake, which I'm guessing is a lake that's great. But my knowledge in geography, I know that there are places with a bayou somewhere. Yeah. These are all locations in TV series and films. So when they all get in a car to drive to, Boston, I don't know how far that is. That could be days' drive from where they are. It could be an hour. It kind of implied at the beginning of the episode that it was a very long way away. And yet they managed to walk back to their own house. Now, the business with the bridge, not really. It just smacked of Indiana Jones 3. That whole leap of faith thing. And the dad character is just so annoying with his constant burning of books. And, he's just not a very nice person. Clearly he's tormented, and I'm sure we'll find out why, but whether I care or not, that's a whole different kettle of fish. And to be fair, I'm beginning to care less and less about this series. So yes, this was the most Lovecrafty story, as in a game of Call of Cthulhu. But it just felt lost. It felt like it had used up all of its stuff in episodes 1 and 2. Bit of scariness in episode 3, but ending back up at your own house. But by far the most annoying bit for me was, the exposition zombie. We've ended up back under the house. We've ended up in this strange set from Pirates of the Caribbean where this zombie turns up, explains everything that's going on, hands over the missing pages, and then eventually gets written out because she's far too interesting. Absolute waste of time. I'm losing faith in this series rapidly. Gratuitous, pointless nakedness is not really doing it for me, and it does feel like any of the sexiness of the series is just kind of shoved in order to be padding. It reminds me of an old Garth Marenghi when they would just slowed things down, literally slow down the footage in order just to fill up the time. This whole thing would be so much better with that sort of nonsense removed. Is this what HBO do? I'm not familiar with their work. In fact, if I am, I'd be surprised. But it just seems, not gratuitous, pointless. I want the storylines to continue. Yes, until very recently, I'd not even heard of Juneteenth. But now now it's mentioned here, and I can go, oh yeah, got it, makes sense. The business with the knots totally helps. I get all of that. But like I say, my faith in this series is rapidly diminishing. I hope next week's is better. Here's hoping. That was the Tin Dog Podcast. Available on Spotify, iTunes, Acast, Stitcher, and wherever good podcasts are found. Get early access to content by subscribing to the Tin Dog Podcast YouTube channel. You can support the show at patreon.com/tindog. Contact the show on Twitter at tindogpodcast or email tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk. All of the things discussed are the intellectual property of others. No infringement is intended. The Tin Dog Podcast is a founder member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance.